Alright guys, welcome back. Finally got these frame out back in. It's panel bonded in underneath along where it was like I did on the other side. Seam sealed all up inside. And well, the patch that came in I was talking about for the floor, got that bad boy in there. Let's see, there we go. There we go. I just got to ground it down, and then that'll be it for that part. It looks so much better when it was there before. Still not perfect, but hey, I really don't care. It's gonna be a race car. I mean, I do care, but not really. All right, get the grinding, and then I don't know what the hell that was. Get the grinding, and then patched a couple holes up in the back there for where people try to put exhaust in previously, and then fit the floor. Hey, what the hell? The floor's in place? Holy crap! Check that out. Yeah, actually fit exactly the way it did beforehand. It located pretty good. All the measurements that I took beforehand aligned right up back to where it was, except for one thing, and I was kind of curious if this was going to happen. Being I cut the whole floor pan, or the whole firewall apart there, spliced and diced it there, spliced and diced up on the other side there. It moved over about an inch, actually about 3/4 of an inch. Let's see up in there. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, so I got to resplice and dice everything. Honestly, I have so much time in this firewall. I probably should have just bought a whole new one. Anyways, that's for after I get the floor pan in. But it fits pretty good, even after taking the rockers all out. Clamped up pretty good. Just a little minor tweaking, but that's to be expected. I couldn't do that beforehand. So yeah, even back in here, where the rear firewall, rear seat pan goes, fit pretty good. I'm kind of happy with that. And let's go on the inside here. Thing I got to do to get the rear seat pan to fit. Take a look in there. I got a couple of ratchet straps on where the seats bolt onto for the bottom, for the back, the seat back, to pull the rear seat pan up against the floor pan. So there you go. All right, time to take it out and lay out the holes and clean off the paint on the inner rockers for the copper weld through primer. We're making progress. Alright, now we got the floor pan out, and you see where I traced out where the floor pan actually goes along the inner rocker. What sucks is, let's go over here, this area up in here on the floor pan here, I can weld up in here, I can weld all along in here, but that little bit that's right there, no bueno senor. It sucks, it's fine. What I'm thinking about doing is just I'm going to work on here and here, and just do a fillet weld on the inside along here, and maybe see if I can squirt some panel bond adhesive down in here. Same thing on the other side. I'm not going to worry too much about welding on this area, because remember right when I do the mini tubs, from reading the instructions, this gets cut off here anyway. So yeah, there's that, and look on the upper side here. Same thing up on the upper side. You gotta clean all that off, put some weld through primer on there. Also too, if you saw on the time lapse, I had to get a little bit of the pry bar and slice that off. I thought it was gonna need extra material on here. That's why I added all that stuff, which I did. But yeah, apparently I really needed it because I screwed up on that part there. Not a big deal. Just lesson learned. First time for me ever really doing this amount of work like this. Hey, it's a good learning lesson. Everything's all well through primer for where it needs to be on here. Up along there, up along the inside here. And before I go put the floor in, there was a bunch of holes back in here for when at some point in the car's life, somebody decided to add a Flowmaster 2.5 inches off on the back there and just put a bunch of self-tapper bolts through it. So there was a barrage of holes through there, cut them out, pass them over, weld them up, and ground them down. It ain't perfect, but like, who cares? It's a receipt pan. It's going to be covered up in paint and undercoating and all that stuff, so you'll never see it. Alright, onto the floor pan. What I'm going to do is lay out a bunch of holes along here on the outside perimeter and on the back side here. And then on the front, I'm only going to do probably just along in here and along that side there. So, because like I said, I screwed up around the trans tunnel and moved on me when I cut the toe boards out to replace that. So anyways, when I get to that, basically along in here, I think it's going to be every 2 inches, along in here, one there, 4 in there, one there, probably space it out evenly through here. Looks like there's going to be probably 1 or 2 through here. Maybe I could probably sneak one in there. And then if I remember right from when I had the car cutting apart, it was about every inch along this hump here. And then 1 or 2 through here, every 2 inches or so through there. Alright, I guess I'll get to laying out and show you the aftermath when I get done with all that. Drilled all the holes, or located, drilled all the holes, put it back in to double check. A couple little things I need to work on. One is this is the passenger side where the frame rail, or the cross brace goes. It's like a 1/2 inch higher on the passenger side for some reason than the driver's side. And for me, that's kind of a big deal for one major reason. I'm 6'4". 1/2 inch in the floor, drop down as far as you can go. It's a huge difference for me, or huge improvement for me when I'm in the car. I know most people probably don't care about that, but I'm a big guy. And plus also some of my friends are kind of tall too, so if we go for a ride in here with the roll bar and all that stuff, eventually all the room we can get will be quite helpful. Yeah, like I said, I mentioned about the gap up there. Got to do some splicing and dicing and figuring that out. It's not that big a deal, it's just part of the process. And then the big reason why I put it back in was I said to check where all the holes are going to fall for where the welds are going to be. And then, oops, I forgot to actually mark out along where the receipt pan goes up against the floor pan. So I had to put that in and see. And plus also, test fitting it in and out a few times actually kind of give me a good idea about how I'm going to weld it in there. Clamp it up, you know, which way I'm going to clamp it up to get rid of all the gaps. Best way to get rid of all the gaps, whether it be C-clamp down the rocker panel, hey, it works. Maybe I have to go to Hobart Freight and get some more C-clamps that fit down in like the original factory holes for where they actually did an assembly line. To get this nice and tight. And I can use zip screws too, but I'm not a huge fan of drilling unnecessary holes for screws like that. I mean, it works, don't get me wrong, I'm probably going to do it in a few spots. Alright, next video I'll probably have this out on the floor, and for next section I'll probably have this out on the floor and get it ready to weld in. Oh yeah, the other reason why I actually put in there too was I wanted to see up in here on both sides where the inner rocker goes. I got to check Detroit Speed's inner tub instructions again. If I remember right, it gets all this gets cut. I've actually read them once or twice. All this stuff basically comes down here completely flat all the way down through here, and then comes up out that way. That way you can run like I think like a 345 wide tire, which is what's it, 25 millimeters for blah 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 12, 14 inch wide tire in the back. So yeah, it's a little effort up front. Might as well get it done now while the car's gonna be eventually, you know, a lot of cars cut apart. All right, let me get back to work. All the holes are drilled, laid across the back. They were like 2.5, 3 inches. Some areas didn't left out. There's already holes in the floor pan from where the fitting snubber and seat bolt bracket goes, which is got to be cut apart because it doesn't fit the floor right, which is fine. Anyways, everything's all copper weld through prime along the edge, up inside. Now time to lift this big boy inside car for the last time, get it in position, and start welding. Right on. Got most of the floor pan welded in. Along the seat pan there, passenger side rocker. I mean, having a rotisserie is freaking awesome. Makes it so much easier. Anyways, it's all welded in on this side, as best I can get it. Crank the heat up, let it burn as hot as I can get it. And now time to flip it over and do the other side. Wow, this was a lot easier replacing this floor pan than I thought it was going to be. For fitting it wasn't too bad, other than where I screwed up on the firewall itself. That was my bad. But for welding it and replacing it, it was actually less work to replace the floor pan and weld it in than it was to when I first got the car and I put patches in here and patches in there when I first got it in 2018. So all in all, this wasn't too bad to do. Just took your time, or took my time, did a bunch of measurements, so the floor pan went back exactly where it needed to be. So hopefully everything will still line up. If not, I'll figure it out. Yeah, so the only thing really left to do is to fix what I screwed up there. And then underneath here, on the hump there, there's a seat bolt bracket and pinion snubber bracket that goes there. But the stamping, I think, is a little off for me at AMD, so I'm going to have to do some splicing and dicing on that. Let's get underneath and look real quick. Oh, get too old for this shit. So there we go. You know, have a rotisserie lay down on the floor. Makes sense. But yeah, that's a lot cleaner job than what I did originally. And there's a lot more welds than what there was originally. I welded around the frame there. The frame there is all welded around, and then in the back there where the torque boxes are, there's like every inch there's a weld. And then I did the same thing over here. You can see the oxidation on the back side of the weld, and well, actually the heat affected zone, so you can see that. So I'll definitely get some pretty good heat coming through there, especially where the cross members are. All right, after a bunch of cutting, welding, shaping, forming, trans tunnel actually fits. Ain't my best work for the welding patches, but I really don't care for the trans tunnel where it's at. It's not a show car, it's going to be more of a race car. I just did it so I can actually make it fit. If it bothers me later on, there's a company called Real Deal Steel. They're Florida or Texas, I forget where they're at, but they sell an oversized trans tunnel. So if it really bothers me, I'll cut it out, put a bigger trans tunnel on it, and that way it gets rid of all that shit. But as for the floor pan install, other than cleaning up the welds a little bit and dressing them here, that's it. Man, that was way easier than I thought it was going to be. So yeah, I guess the next thing is bring the doors back up, hang them, make sure everything lines up, and start on the quarters. Alright, this video's going there for the floor pan install that I've had for, I don't know, what, 3 months now. Alright guys, thanks for watching.